Hi.
Hello, hi.
So maybe before we even dive into everything, maybe just asking, where are we?
So we are in a studio in the Scout area in QC right now. I have gathered here majority of my loved ones, the people in my life that are important to me. Because in this process of letting people in, syempre ang una is the people that I love.
The letting people in, right? So if you could expound more, what are we about to do?
Well, after having been put on blast, basically after being shot into being a public figure from Drag Race, medyo nahirapan akong i-navigate siya for a little while because I am quite an introverted person. So when that happened, I found myself kind of being a recluse, shying away from diving too much into my personal life. But I took the time to process and to heal and to just think things through, think my life through, and I am now ready to share what I learned with everyone.
I guess the first question that comes is, first, what is your live name?
Currently, still in the process of figuring it out, but my current live name is Frances Chanel Landayan.
And what are your pronouns?
She, her, casually, socially, but I do love a they, them formal written. So if anyone's gonna do a write-up on this, please use they, them. Learn how to use they, them singular. Thank you.
And what is your gender identity?
I am non-binary trans femme.
And how long have you been on gender-affirming hormone therapy?
I am going on 1 year by December 3 on my hormones.
I guess it's been a year. What made you start?
The biggest catalyst moment was kind of, ayun nga, parang my self-image was kind of in a lot of chaos with being put out into the public, and suddenly so many people have an opinion on ayan na nga, ayan na, oh, yung Michael nga, ano ba yan? Okay, again. Ayun nga, after being put into, the sphere of a public figure, and then suddenly so many people from all around the world have an opinion of who I am, what my personality is, how I choose to express myself. My self-image was kind of in a bit of a chaos at the time, and I needed to look inward and kind of start from scratch, kind of. Nagkaroon lang ako ng weird moment of existential crisis na I asked myself, ano bang gusto kong maging pagtanda? And there was a point that the answer was obvious. I did not want to be an old man. I wanted to be an old woman, and though I did not really understand what that meant for my gender identity at that time, I knew I had to start doing something to get there.
So if we could just zoom in on that moment when you had the thought, how many years down the line were you thinking?
30, 40?
And how old would you have been?
58, 68, kind of.
So when you thought, if I were to be a 68-year-old person, would I want to be a 68-year-old woman or a 68-year-old man?
It did not even make sense to me at that point, but the answer was obviously woman.
So what was happening, the context of your life at that very moment that you made that question to yourself?
I think Drag Race Season 3 was just about wrapping up. And I just had so many questions on who I really was. Kasi nga all of a sudden, daming sinasabi ng mga tao. And in a way, may times din na watching the show kind of felt like an out-of-body experience na nakikita ko yung sarili ko, I hear myself, but I don't recognize that person. So, parang it was a lot of questioning, a lot of looking inward na sino ba talaga ako? Who am I when I take myself out of the public again? And yun lang that was the only question I had an answer to. That was the only thing that was clear to me.
So it seemed like Drag Race was mirroring back a self you did not recognize. And it forced you to look within amidst everything that was happening about who you truly were. I guess my question now is, what made you decide to take the plunge to transition medically?
Well, I sought psych counseling first of all kasi parang naisip ko if I was gonna do it, I wanted to do it the right way. I wanted to do it with the guidance of medical professionals, psychologists. And also it really helped me that at that time, the person that I was seeing then, not anymore, gave me the space to entertain the questions without feeling like that love would be taken away from me because of. Binigyan niya ako ng space to ask the questions of what my gender identity is, who am I as a person, who do I want to grow old into, and telling me na parang, whoever you are, I will love you. However you want to express yourself, I will accept you. And that really helped me that time.
I can imagine how the assurance really grounded you and helped you not have to doubt what felt right. Yeah. What else was happening that also reflected back to you the reality of who you were amidst the rise of fame, the way that the show portrayed you? What else was happening?
I was leaning a lot into my support system, the people closest to me. I was leaning into them a lot to kind of remind me who they saw me as. Kasi yung time na yun ang ingay. Ang daming may opinion, ang daming nagsasabi ng kung ano-ano. I just needed to lean on the people that knew me and whose opinions I value.
I'm also interested in going a bit further back in time. When was the first sense that you experienced that you were different?
Well, I've been identifying as non-binary for, I think, 12 years at this point. I first took on the term back in 2013. But even before then, bata pa lang ako, I felt very different. I felt very not like the other boys, but also not exactly like the girls. I've always felt a weird in-between and not really knowing what to do with that information.
How old were you when you first had that idea that I'm not like everybody else?
Maybe 5, 6, 7. Kasi parang that age ka na magkakaroon ng sense of other people eh. Parang before then, iniisip ko lang naman ikaw and the people immediately around you. I think that's the age where you start to get a sense of, oh, there's other people in the world, and I just didn't really feel like anyone was like me, or not a lot of people were exactly like how I felt.
I'm also curious, was there ever a time when you felt, I want to be a girl or be a woman when you were younger?
It's not wanting to be a girl, pero may natatandaan ako, mayroon ako weird distinct memory na parang nasa department store kami, tapos nakatingin ako dun sa girls clothes section, tapos parang bakit mas maganda yung choices nila? Kasi sa boys parang okay, shorts, pantalon, t-shirt, polo, nice. Tapos sa girls marami silang cute na dress, merong skirt, merong parang spaghetti strap, merong crop. Alam mo yung ang daming, there's a lot more choices for the girls, and I felt envious na, bakit di ako pwede pumili doon?
I mean, did you start actually wearing women's clothes?
It wasn't until I was probably high school or college that I started to really explore. So, from that age na 5 or 6, 10 years down the line pa ako talagang nag-entertain any sort of feminine urges.
in high school, you mentioned,
Mhm.
as a teenager. Did it ever come like into your mind that you had wanted to live in your truth as whatever that gender is?
It was a weird time. So yung batch namin sa high school was very, very queer. Dami naming bakla. And a lot of us eventually started to identify as trans, started transition, identified as a girl. So, di pa to alam ng nanay ko. Pero nagkaroon ako ng jowa nung high school. Tapos, ang tawag niya sa akin nun, girlfriend. Tapos parang ako, okay lang. Parang, I never fully resonated with being a girl. But it was more like, I always love being in between.
Boyfriend reveal pala.
I love you, Ami.
You mentioned that you had trans friends growing up.
Mhm.
Were any of them already pursuing gender-affirming hormone therapy?
Yeah, throughout my life as a queer person, I've met and come across and befriended a lot of people on the trans and non-binary spectrum, iba't ibang levels of like transitioning.
Did you ever think as you were growing up, parang gusto ko rin gawin yan?
Not really that I wanted to do it, pero nagkaroon ng peer pressure, kind of. Kasi, well, I was always very feminine growing up. So, medyo sinasabihan ako ng mga tao na bagay sa'yo mag-trans, bagay ka maging babae. So, merong parang, syempre, the people pleaser in me was like, sige, okay, maybe try natin. Nung college, for a time, I grew out my hair, started dressing a bit more femininely. But siguro at that time, it just did not resonate with me, or the reason that I was doing it didn't really hold space. Kasi parang ginagawa ko siya kasi alam kong sasabihin ako na ibang mga taong maganda. But every morning was a hell of self-consciousness na looking in the mirror, changing however many outfits, getting ready for school na parang, am I passing enough? Am I woman enough? Am I pretty enough? And eventually I got tired of that and I cut all of the hair off.
First, it sounds like it wasn't time.
It wasn't time. I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. I wasn't doing it for me.
But then also, I'm hearing the pressure of having to pass. You mentioned, like you said.
Yeah. Because at that time, sobrang limited pa nung worldview on queer people na parang either lalaking bakla ka or trans ka. And ayun nga, I never felt like I fully belonged in one or the other.
Parang ang binary pa nun, no?
Yes.
We'll move forward in time now. Around the time when you started your gender-affirming hormone therapy, what was helpful for you that made you decide or helped you decide to take the dive into the waters of estradiol?
Siguro mostly because I wanted something for myself. I wanted something that the general public did not know about me. Kasi binunyag ko na lahat eh. I mean, hello, HIV status ko nga. Sa TV unang lumabas eh. So that I didn't fully dissociate with what was going on. I needed something na parang akin lang to. This is just mine. And I'm going to hold on to this for however long I feel like I need to keep it as my thing. And that helped me a lot. Kasi parang, finally may secret ulit ako. Finally meron akong thing na hindi iti-tweet ng mga bakla online. Like, I had something that was just mine.
Sounds like parang a reclaiming of self amidst all of the chaos of fame
Yes.
and everybody's opinion. This is something that belonged to you entirely, your journey. So, what has your gender journey given you in a very real sense?
It's weird. My journey, I feel like, is a little unconventional kasi I started on hormones without having anything figured out. Most people, di ba, parang, oh, they already know their identity and that's why they start going on hormones and everything. Ako parang, hindi ko gets, pero go, pahid tayo. Yeah, it's weird. I went on hormones to start the process of figuring it out. And along the way, kasi nung una sabi ko, oh, I'm still just non-binary, parang gusto ko lang medyo mas malambot tayo ng onte, iwasan natin yung mga the further changes down the line na mas magmumukha tayong lalaki, iwasan natin yon. Yun yung goal ko at the start eh. And then eventually, with, sitting with myself, talking to myself a lot, introspecting, but also talking to my psych, dun ko na-figure out that the little girl was always there. It's just that she needed to create a friend, is what I call him. She needed to create a friend to protect her because she wasn't ready to come out into the light. She wasn't ready to face the world. She wasn't ready to be scrutinized. And he stepped up for her. He protected her, shielded her. He was a strong personality. He was the one that was so driven to do so many good things. And all the while, taking care of her in the shadows. But along the process, she felt that she was ready to step into the light and finally start growing up. And the friend had to say goodbye.
Thank you, friend. I noticed that being queer, especially being trans, is so about the body. It's about what we feel as we move in the world, how we talk, how we move, how we dress. You mentioned that the little girl part of you felt safe enough to slowly emerge. How has that changed now, being in the body that you are, evolving and transforming in your journey?
A common trans rhetoric is, oh, I was born in the wrong body. But for me, I feel like I'm getting here at the right time. I needed to be the person that I was for 27 years before I started to become this new person. Yet, 28 is a little late for some people because some people start their transition a lot earlier or they figure it out a lot earlier. But for me, I'm glad that I'm doing this now kasi I am able to take ownership of my femininity. I'm not transitioning and changing the way I look in a sense na parang, o dapat ganito ako para mas babae, o dapat ganito ako para mas cis-passing tayo, o dapat ganito kasi mas unclockable. Everything that I'm doing is me rediscovering the femininity that I pushed aside for so long and parang figuring out what resonates, but also parang nagmamarie kondo ako ng buhay ko eh. Looking at the masculine aspects of me and being like, still like that, I still like this, I still want to keep that, those can go. Femininity, oh, I want these. That's how it feels like to me. Although yes, I do have to acknowledge, we do have a bit of pretty privilege. I was always like very soft growing up, so hindi naman masyadong kailangan ng maraming kabig para pumunta sa babae. But being a woman is not my goal. Being my most authentic self is, in all aspects of my masculinity and my femininity.
Marie Kondo, choosing what gives you joy.
Yes.
Also, backtrack muna natin, anong a little bit of pretty privilege?
Ayoko naman kasi manggaling sa akin. Huy! Musical.
You mentioned that your friend had traits that you felt needed to protect you. What were those traits?
Oh, the resiliency, the kind of parang very solution-oriented kind of person, driven, very set on goals. I still keep a lot of those traits. And I still keep a lot of the boy traits, like walking around the house in just my boxers. May mga like boyisms pa din ako na I'm not doing away with because I like that part of me. But yeah, I'm trying to, kumbaga, the little girl is having to grow up really fast in order to fill the shoes of the man that protected and provided for her.
It's been a year since you started. If you could go back to the self that you were as you were beginning to decide, I will take this journey on gender-affirming hormone therapy, what do you feel you, back then, needed to hear?
Oh girl, blind confidence can take you through so much. Like, believe in the delusion, buy into the delusion. Believe that everything will turn out kahit hindi mo planuhin yan. Like, things will fall where they need to be. Maybe not always where you want them to be, but things will fall where they need to be at just the right time.
So trust.
Yeah, trust the process.
And Dululu is the...
Solulu, yes. Delulu is a solulu, very that.
So as a non-binary, trans femme, now we'll look ahead. What is in front of you moving forward? And where do you hope to be?
Well, first, the reason why I'm doing this is I just want to breathe. ayun nga, parang she needed time to grow up a little bit, and now that she feels a bit more grown and wants to step into the light, I want to be able to breathe in front of everyone with the knowledge that I'm not withholding any information about who I am. Like, yun yung pinakaunang gusto kong mangyari is for people to know my truth because I'm ready to celebrate my truth. Second, siguro, is honestly, I just want to promote gender-affirming healthcare as life-saving care. Because, ayun nga, what's kind of different for my journey is I didn't know what was going on when I took it, when I started it, but it definitely saved my life in ways that I didn't expect it to. And I don't know, maybe kind of just serve as an example na you don't need to have it all figured out to start trusting your heart. If your heart, if your gut, if the back of your mind is telling you something, crying out for help, listen to that. You don't have to have everything figured out to start listening to the person in your head that's telling you what they need.
It also sounds like it's the deepest self that just urged you without even having the clearest view of where the destination would be.
Ayun, I guess for me, what took me so long to get here is that I saw a lot of trans women. And of course, I love my trans sisters. They are very powerful. They are very strong in taking ownership of being a woman. But at the same time, I kind of felt like not like them in some ways. In that, for me, I specifically identify as non-binary trans femme because I do feel like a girl. I do feel like a woman. But I feel like I'm more than that. Because for me, what matters is honoring my history, honoring all the versions of myself that I've been. And I didn't see a lot of people celebrating that. Or at least parang in mainstream media. Ayun nga, the narrative is oftentimes born in the wrong body. I kind of want to shift the narrative into coming into the right body at the right time.
Your act of self-creation. I have one last question. Is there anything you'd like to tell everybody and anybody who's listening and watching this who might also be on their own gender journey, even individuals who want to begin gender-affirming healthcare?
So, sino dito? Raise your hand. Listen to yourself. Listen to your truest self, to your deepest self, to your deepest, the you that is in the deepest, darkest parts of your mind. Listen to that and that alone. Stop listening to people that are telling you, oh, you have to be this to be that. Kailangan malambot ka na para mag-trans ka. Kailangan ganito ka na para mag-start ka ng hormones. Listen to yourself. If that little girl or little boy inside you is telling you, I want to come out, listen. And if you can, please do it the right way. Please do it with guidance of a psych, guidance of a doctor. Because honestly, there's not just one way to do it. You can kind of like figure it out as you go. Like, what do you want? Do you want to like fully, do you want the full dollification or do you just want a little bit of it? Like, kaya naman siya as long as you talk to the professionals that can help you through that journey.
Given that we've gathered here the best and the most beloved in your life, I guess what would you want to tell them?
Uy, pitik yung Pisces eh. I just want to take a moment to appreciate everyone here. Because all of you that are here at one point or more than have saved me. When I didn't understand what was going on, you guys all held out your hand for me to hold on to when I feel like there was nothing else that I could be holding on to. When so many people were telling me so many things of what they thought about whatever version of me they saw on TV, you guys all reminded me who I really am and how you see me, and that is how I choose to live my life, keeping it in the most prime real estate of my heart. Kasi you are the people that matter to me. I now have to live with the fact that yes, there are going to be a lot of people in the world that have something to say about me and have something to say about the way I choose to live my life and how I want to identify. But as long as I am with the people that I love and I know are looking out for me, I know I will be okay no matter whatever transformation I have to go through in my life. Kung maging kotse pa ako, maging hayop pa ako, okay lang kasi alam ko nandiyan naman kayo for me. Ayan, dahil ayaw tigilan ng mga cisheads ang pag-gender reveal, kailangan tayong queer people, i-appropriate natin siya. And I think it's an appropriate time to do it. So, Pilipinas! Discreet or FM! FM!